Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stenches in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
It reminds me of that movie, what was it, Hitch, where he has allergic reaction or something? Will Smith?
Yeah, it probably looked like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Pictures or it didn't happen.
I can get my headset back on my face now, so that's good.
Oh, was that a thing? For reals?
Yeah. So last time we were doing it, I had like one of the ear things like on my head. It was behind my ear.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It was not going on my ear.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It can't be helped. It's just giant face. It is what it is.
Giant face. Carly the giant face.
Yeah. It happens. When it happens again, I'll take a picture and then I'll just be like, uh-oh.
Okay. Sounds like a post we need to make to the website. There needs to be some anecdotal photographs in the book we're going to put together.
Drinking with fat face.
So Carly is a little too camera shy for her own good. She needs to get over that. Maybe she needs to see somebody like the character in our movie that we're going to talk about tonight.
No, thank you.
Well, it's that time of year, right? It's like my favorite time of year. I don't know about yours, but really for me, it's the only time of year because I'm one of those weirdos that, it's Halloween every day, or every day is Halloween, I think is the song. Here where I'm at right now, folks, I generally living out in California, and right now I'm out in Illinois, which is the amazing state where Halloween takes place, right? And I tell you, anytime I go outside at night, they nailed the atmosphere in that movie. Like, it feels like you're in a Halloween movie. And I mean, like John Carpenter's Halloween with Michael Myers and shit. Like, it.
So are you
like
just wandering around at night time? Have you been wandering around all night at night time, just waiting to be chased by a murderer?
Hell no. I literally walk outside and I get that like chills kind of feeling like, oh my God, this like feels like Halloween. It's time to go back inside. I'm not an idiot. No, I love the atmosphere and the feeling. It's so quiet. It's like dead quiet, and the leaves and the alleys behind the houses and all that kind of stuff. Like, it really feels like a Halloween movie. And I absolutely
I wonder what it's going to be like there then, like when it's full on Halloween night.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to change too much, honestly. Like the street that we live on here, you got a bunch of people putting out like pumpkins and stuff on their porches and some Halloween decorations and things like that. Sadly, our house isn't one of them because we're doing remodeling stuff. So I haven't had the time or the, funds to really put into the Halloween stuff at the moment. But I'm kind of excited for it because it like literally it feels like, Halloween was built around this atmosphere. Anytime you see it in a movie or you think about it, this is what it feels like to me. And maybe I'm, alone in that, but that's where I'm at. Yeah. So I'm super excited. Halloween's coming up in just a few days here, and we're doing this special podcast for you guys out there, just so you have something amazing to listen to for this, in my book, the only holiday that exists. Yes. So
Yes, quite like Halloween. I never used to be one for Halloween, but I've gotten into it more as I've got older. I think because the idea of like hiding my face and terrifying people is quite fun. Plus, I bought a Scarlet Witch costume last year, and I've got to get my use out of it because Street went, "Don't buy that, or I'm going to divorce you." And then I might have accidentally bought it. Genuinely, I was trying to buy something else, and it was still in my basket.
So is that because he's against the Scarlet Witch, or is it because I don't know?
Because it was expensive, man.
Oh, expensive. Okay.
Yeah, he's expecting me to get a job at Disneyland, wandering around with it. I think to get the money back for it. It wasn't like. I mean, he has a full-grown Spider-Man suit, which is ridiculous for an adult man. But his was like 25 quid. He doesn't fit in it anymore. Oh, he doesn't like that.
Oh well, he'll get back to his normal form. It'll happen.
You kidding me? He can't get on the bin anymore. He used to climb on the bin as Spider-Man and like shoot fake webs at people. He can't even get on the bin now. That's ship sailed.
Hey, age does wonderful things for people.
He's going to have like a hidden stepladder to get on the bin.
Maybe it can be a new character in the Spider-Verse, old Spider-Man.
Like Old Man Logan, Old Man Peter.
That's funny. So you're going to be the Scarlet Witch for Halloween, huh? Yeah, okay.
Like
you got
forever.
No choice now.
Forever. No, that's it. I'm done. That's my costume forever.
And is Street gonna appear as the what do they call him? The neighborhood friendly web
Maybe.
slinger
I mean, he does also have a costume where he's riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's so funny.
So I think maybe that's probably going to be the way forward. It takes like an hour to inflate it. It's ridiculous.
No kidding, really? And how does it stay inflated?
Well, it's got some sort of like mechanism inside it. I don't know. Did I tell you when he wore it last year and I shut the door on him and I thought he was prattling about, so I stormed off and left him and he was stuck in the door because his tail was stuck.
No, I don't think I heard that one.
So we were going to a party at the pub down the road, literally pretty much on the same street. So I'd come out of the house because he'd been prattling about for ages and I'd been ready for about 3 hours in this stupid costume. Or I'd put all like eyeshadow on my fingertips, so I was like proper evil Scarlet Witch. Of course, it was the stupidest idea ever because it was just wiping it all over my face. So that was like rapidly disappearing and I just wanted to go. You just want a beer. I fucking just want a beer, man.
Yeah.
And he's prattling about with this inflating his Tyrannosaurus Rex. And when we finally got out the house, I stormed off, like out the gate, and he's prattling about in the doorway, being a dinosaur, pretending it's Jurassic Park. I thought, those shenanigans are for the pub, mate. We're outside in the cold right now. So I walked past him, slammed the door behind him, and then he starts prattling about, going, I'm stuck. And I just thought, oh, here we go. I am absolutely fed up of this now. I want a beer. You are not funny until I've got a alcoholic beverage going down my bloody throat. So I stormed off because I thought, there's loads of people around, and all they can see is the Scarlet Witch arguing with a bloody man in a T-Rex. I just need to get off the street. I feel very vulnerable right now. So I stormed off to the pub and I got a beer and I'm sat there waiting. I'm thinking, he's not coming. I think maybe I've really upset him. So I went out the front door and looked down the street and he's still trying to get out the door. I had to come back with my keys and be like, whoops.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
And when he got in the pub, I had to apologise to people because when he was trying to turn around, he was literally like wiping out tables and glasses and stuff because his tail was that long. He couldn't get around anywhere.
That's funny. You got to do it like my dog does it, where she does this like she can't turn around because she's like a Scooby-Doo dog, so she like is scared of everything, and so she won't turn around if she thinks she's gonna bump into anything, right? So she does these really funny ass like slow step reverse mode where she walks backwards, and it's so fucking funny because it doesn't matter if she's in a room or not, she still does it, and she's just like, all right, Luna's in reverse. It's so fucking so Street needs to learn a little something from Luna there.
God.
Knocking people. I was gonna get into a bar fight pretty easily with that. With that tail.
You know, can you imagine, man, if the police came, who punched the dinosaur? It's like when we had the pub and we had a Halloween party and somebody had to phone the police because they were fighting outside and they were like, what's going on? Batman is fighting with a zombie football player. There's a bride hitting somebody with a shoe. Oh, yeah, and there's a Deadpool with something through his head. They were like, what? Get off our phone line.
Right? They don't believe you at all.
Nope.
That's so good. Well, folks, tonight we've got another awesome drink for you. And I don't think that you're going to guess what the movie is based on the name of this one, nor will you actually know what the name means, because I sure as hell didn't. But maybe you're more intelligent than I am, which is not hard to be. Anyway, so the drink for tonight is called Mystic Mayerling. All right, and this is the inspiration for this cocktail is inspired by the mysterious and eerie undertones of the film we're watching, especially the Mayerling incident, which I had no idea was a thing. I've never heard of it before. Had you heard of it, Carly?
No.
No. Yeah, it's fascinating.
No.
And it's inspired by the idea of reincarnation. The drink combines elements that are both classic and unexpected, much like the film's plot twists. The ingredients, and Carly, you're going to love this because it has your favorite. 2 ounces of gin, representing the classic nature of film noir, which I think is more of like a bourbon thing, but whatever. Gin it is. I guess it's in enough movies. 1 ounce of elderflower liqueur, which I've never had that before. They call it, well, I'm surprised that you said it, but they call it a touch of European elegance. Apparently this is popular over in your neck of the woods. And 0.5 ounce of lemon juice, 0.5 ounce of simple syrup, or as Street would say, crushed buds, a dash of absinthe, which I actually really like absinthe. I love a Sazerac. You ever had a Sazerac?
No, I have had absinthe though. Oh God.
Yeah, by itself, you got to really cut it with water and sugar and stuff. But if you are out at a pub or something like that, see if they have a Sazerac. It's a pretty classic cocktail, and they're really good. They're very strong, but they're good.
We will go hunting for that cocktail.
Yeah, it's nice.
Hunting.
Halloween hunting for a Sazerac. And a little bit of soda water, a lemon twist, and a sprig of rosemary for garnish. So the instructions for this is, in a shaker, fill it with ice and combine the gin, the elderflower liqueur, the lemon juice, and the simple syrup. Shake well until the ice sounds different. Strain into a glass filled with ice, and top with a splash of soda water, and add a dash of absinthe on top. Don't mix it in, let it float, and it will give apparently a mysterious color effect, which is nice, because not Sazerac, but absinthe is like a green tint to it.
Yeah, like the bile that comes out of you the next day when you've had one, people.
And then garnish it with a lemon twist and a sprig of rosemary. And here's our little write-up for this, the pairing notes that Dennis gave us.
Well, you're going to have to explain this because this is going to go out before the other episode, so people are going to be like, what?
Oh, that's true. Right. So yeah, since we're doing a special Halloween episode, I've been using our favorite little artificial intelligent robot named Dennis to help me come up with drink cocktails that pair nicely with our films that we're watching and discussing. So basically, I have Dennis read my notes for the film that we had watched, and then come up with drink ingredients and a write-up on a cocktail that will match with it. And so it's interesting because it seems to be extremely spot on to what we're doing, and it always comes up with some interesting drinks that I've never heard of. And it may just be
way better than us.
Yeah, right. And
one day the podcast is just going to be Dennis and Norman. Not Norman, Rodney. Oh my God, I forgot what mine was called. It'd be Rodney and Dennis just talking back and forth.
Right. So the pairing notes that Dennis came up with, and Carly named Dennis. I was strongly against it. I was going to name it Bogart, but Dennis it is. So pairing notes for the Mystic Mayerling is the Mystic Mayerling is both refreshing and goddamn word, enigmatic. The elderflower liqueur brings a floral note reminiscent of old European tales, while the absinthe adds a touch of mystique, much like the film's exploration of reincarnation and hypnosis. The rosemary garnish not only adds a fragrant aroma, but also symbolizes the film's deep dive into memories and past lives. So we want you to enjoy the podcast discussion while making or drinking the Mystic Mayerling, our thematic cocktail for tonight. And with that said, unbelievable, impossible, maybe not, for the impossible does happen.
Are you afraid?
You don't like me. You want to kill me. But I must not be found there, even dead.
The strangest triangle the world has ever known. A man, a woman, a ghost. Fright. Starring Nancy Malone, Eric Fleming.
Time stands still. Its dark curtain slowly parts, revealing for the first time a startling adventure into the unknown, a backward glance into the mystery that has haunted mankind since the beginning of time.
For pulse-pounding excitement, for the edge of your seat suspense, you'll never forget the cold chill of Fright. The trailer for the 1956 psychological thriller, horror noir, whatever you want to call it, titled Fright. Fright is directed by W. Lee Wilder and written by Miles Wilder, and it stars Eric Fleming from Rawhide and Nancy Malone and Frank Marth. But before we jump into it, Carly's got a special extra spooky in a nutshell. Maybe it should be like in a pumpkin synopsis.
Well, it's not spooky. So straight away, full disclosure. I'm sorry, guys, it's not spooky.
Damn it, you messed up. We're doing a Halloween episode and you do something not spooky.
Well, I have like thousands of ghostly tales that I could terrify everybody with if we get stuck for something to talk about.
No, but we need a spooky synopsis, and this was your idea. So now you have just like, I don't know what is that? Screwed the pooch. Yeah, there you go. I used that reference term, whatever it is.
That's just weird.
Okay.
There's no pooch screwing of any kind.
All right, so here's Carly's in a non-pumpkin synopsis thing that's not spooky. Carly, you have the floor. And now it's time for Carly's super famous in a nutshell synopsis.
Thanks for that. An inappropriately named woman, convinced that she died as part of a suicide pact, seeks help from a dastardly psychiatrist with a penchant for falling in love with spirits from the past, despite her connections to a present-day serial killer who coincidentally turns out to be the second half of the past life suicide pact, and the doctor's own repeated protests that he does not in fact date patients, whilst simultaneously trying to date his patients.
Damn, I think that was almost as complicated as watching Chinatown.
Yeah. Even I got confused midway.
I don't think the movie's that confusing, but that was pretty good. It is kind of funny how he's constantly like, you can't be my patient, because he wants to date her, wants to take her out to dinner, and then, then he's also seeing her. It is super funny.
Did you understand the inappropriately named woman reference? Because I'm wondering whether it's just the UK.
No, I didn't understand that. I was trying to think of what her name was. It's Ann Summers, right?
So her name is Ann Summers. Hopefully everybody in the UK is going, whoa. Just Google Ann Summers.
Okay, I'm going to do that now.
Just see if you get on the website, because then maybe you'll understand why I spent a good portion of the film after she'd introduced herself laughing.
Okay, so Ann Summers is the official Ann Summers online store. It must be it.
I'm guessing it's that.
Okay. Okay, so it's these are Halloween outfits.
There is, Jason, but you don't want to pull that thread.
Oh, never mind. Okay, so I get this is like what is it called out here?
It's like Kim Kardashian's wardrobe for the daytime.
What the heck do they call it? Adam and Eve, I think it's like a store out here is called that. I think it is.
So it used to be you could be
adult lingerie store or something, whatever they call it. Yeah. Okay.
You could be a rep for it. That's how they work. So you can be a rep for it, and they send you stuff, and you're supposed to host parties with like groups of women to encourage them to buy them. Now, I actually signed up to be a rep when I was like 19 because I thought, it's easy money, that is.
Yeah.
And they delivered the box of stuff because they send you out like a random box of like random sizes and random crap. And they delivered it when I was like at work at my actual job, and it sat outside in the garden because I didn't know it was there, and it got absolutely soaked to the bone. And when I eventually brought it in, I mean, there's not a lot of material to begin with, guys. There's really not a great deal of tangible cotton on there. When I finally brought it in from outside, there was like fucking nothing left. It was awful. I ended up like selling it on a car boot because it had all the brand new tags on it and stuff, and I was like, well, that's the end of that.
That's hilarious. Dude, if I was a woman, I would totally do something like that. Like that's like free money, right? There you go.
Well, it's because I just thought they were like, you just host a party, and naturally all the women will just snap your hand off buying the stuff.
Really?
Well, I will never know, Jason, because it's outside for about 2 weeks. So I was like, where's the box of stuff? I want to start earning free money.
Now, if you really want to sell stuff, you got to have the party, but you got to invite the men because it's going to be the men buying it for the women, right? Then you'll probably sell a hell of a lot more because they're going to buy all the shit, and the woman will be like, I'm not wearing that. Where'd this come from?
Yep. And then they go, well, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you another one that's got slightly more threading on it. Yeah.
Right. That's funny. Ann Summers. Okay. Well, speaking of Summers, Suzanne Summers just passed away here. I don't know if you know who that is.
Who's that?
She was on, do you remember the show Three's Company?
Oh, I never really watched it.
Oh, okay. And then she had the, what do you call it? The Thigh Master thing later on. Like the little springy thing to work out your thighs.
It was like one of them things where you sit in a chair and just like jerk about. It just like moves you, like, let's work it out.
It's kind of like a butterfly looking thing, right? And it's got like a spring, and you just put it between your legs and squeeze your legs open and close. It's called the Thigh Master. So
that sounds like some sort of contraption that Ann Summers bought a patent for. I'm not gonna lie.
And then she was in this other show, which I thought was pretty good, but I can't remember the name of it, where she plays like a cop.
That's helpful.
She's the sheriff, I think, maybe. I think that's what it's called.
Well, we'll all just go out and watch that right now because you've made it really helpful to find it.
Yeah, well,
thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, something like that. Maybe she's a cop, or I think she's the sheriff. Sounds more right. Sounds more right. I can't sound more wrong. Yeah. Anyway, Suzanne Summers, she's an icon out here. I mean, I don't know. I thought she was everywhere. What do I know? Yeah, so
maybe that just skipped me past.
I guess so.
I do hibernate periodically.
Oh, you're just too young. That's all it is. You were born what year?
88.
88. Okay. Well, I mean, you should still have some sort of like vague memory, I would assume.
I watch quite a lot of older stuff, and TV shows in particular. I can't be bothered with new TV shows. It has to be really good. But there's a lot of American stuff that's like passed me by. I don't really tend to watch a lot of older American stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But there's something to be said about anybody that's born after Back to the Future came out. Like, I can't even imagine that I'm actually talking to you, to be honest.
Oh, I have that every day in my life now. When I talk to somebody about the Matrix and they just look at me like,
yeah, but that's like 99. That's like nothing. That's like yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, how do you not understand bullet time? What is wrong with you? And then, they flash their stupid driving license that shows you that they're like, could be your teenage child. Oh, get lost.
Yeah, it's crazy. Telling you getting older is weird. Like, to me, it's like the 80s was like yesterday. I don't know. But, it's actually 30 years ago. Nah, it's longer than that. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Oh, let's stop talking about this. Move on. It's Halloween time. And we watched an amazing movie called Fright. And Carly already gave us in a nutshell synopsis, so we should probably move on and talk about it.
And not think about how time's marching on and coming for
That's
us.
right, actually. I mean, I think...
Like the flying guy in the film Through the Looking Glass.
What is that? Is that like
Alice in Wonderland?
Nobody watched that. That's the Tim Burton one?
I did. Yeah, I did. And the second one's good. He's flying through time in a contraption trying to chase people, and that's just what I feel like my life is now. I'm just looking over my shoulder waiting for the man in a bubble.
The boy in the bubble?
No, he's a man in a bubble.
No, the boy in the bubble. I'm pretty sure John
comes for you.
Travolta, the 80s movie, The Boy in the Bubble, based on a true story. Yeah.
I think we're just digging ourselves in a bigger hole here.
Yeah. We should.
Yeah.
Fright, starring Eric Fleming, who was also a co-star in Rawhide with Clint Eastwood. This man, I don't know if you looked up anything about him, but I recognize the name, and I know Rawhide because I was, I watched those old westerns as a kid.
Yeah, I used to watch Rawhide because my nan's mental on anything like that. Yeah.
So Eric Fleming had an extremely difficult life, and it's crazy. Like reading about it, he was born with like a club foot, and his dad would beat him constantly. So he left home at like 8 years old, tried to kill himself.
Wow.
Yeah, ended up going to LA, then ended up in Chicago working for gangsters, and was like shot in a shootout at the age of like 11.
Oh my God.
Right? And then ends up getting...
What an interesting man to be in a bar.
Oh, yeah. And it gets better. Yeah. And he ends up being returned back home to his mom, who I guess subsequently had divorced the father. And he eventually joins the Merchant Marines and the Navy, and does all of that. And then ends up back in LA and was working as like a carpenter on film sets, and then I guess ends up going back to Chicago again and takes acting classes and does some plays, ends up back down in LA. I think Fright might have been his very first movie. And he's pretty damn good in it too. And then he goes on and does Rawhide. And then I think in 1966, something like that, he ends up getting this acting gig for I couldn't really find a whole lot of information on it. I'm not sure if it was ever released, but it sounds like it was some sort of like mini series based on Wizard of Oz or something like that. But he is in Peru shooting this, and him and his co-star are in like a canoe or something like that, and it flips upside down, and the current like sweeps him away, and he drowns. So this guy had like a very short acting career and stuff, and like all this like turmoil in his life is pretty crazy. But I thought his life story was pretty fascinating. And I thought he was pretty good in Fright. Like Fright, I think was like, much better than it should have been, because as far as I can tell, it's like really a B movie. From there's like very, very little information I can find of this movie on the internet.
Yeah, there's really not a lot, is there? At all?
No, and it's hard to find too. Like I found it on YouTube, but that was like pretty much the only place I could find it. Which is interesting because the copyright on the YouTube video says it was released in 2008 to somebody. Which is probably one of those like discount like distributors that releases like public domain type stuff, but I don't think this is public domain either. But yeah, there's very little information on the movie, and for a film like this being what I think was pretty decent, I thought that was pretty surprising. So, when you suggested this movie, did you know what it was about, or did you know anything about like the backstory or?
No, so I did the way I did it was I basically had that list that you sent, and because I'm very wary sometimes, like when we've had it before, when something's classified as a film noir and then you watch it and you think, what?
Yeah.
Is that just because they didn't know what else to classify it as, or it's got an actor in it that went on to do that kind of stuff? So I was really hesitant with the horror aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Actually watching it and then thinking, oh, this is nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a look and it was based on the theme of reincarnation. I thought, well, even if it's not so great, I can't really recall many films that would have dealt with that in that time period. So I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, I don't think there's very many films at all that deal with that. Like the only one that I could think of off the top of my head is What Dreams May Come. And that's a fairly, well, for me, it's a fairly recent film with, oh my gosh. Why can't I think of his name right now? This is terrible. Anyway, do you know what movie I'm talking about? What Dreams May Come?
I think so.
Robin Williams. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, it's a fantastic movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in it. Robin Williams. It's such a great film. If you don't know what it is, you should check it out. It's hard.
Well, I saw that one as well that I sent you. Was it Unseen? No? Oh my God, I watched it as well straight after because I was interested. But that was like a proper horror.
Oh, okay.
Film. Yeah. That was that was just like, that was unnerving from the get-go. Oh. And I think that was a year after this one.
Uh-huh. That was called The Undead.
Undead.
Yeah, Roger Corman movie.
That was just very kind of similar setup, and then it just went off into proper horror territory.
Yeah, I still got to watch that one. Yeah, I fell asleep watching this one, not because of the film, just because I was just super tired and I probably shouldn't have started it. But I got like maybe 15, 20 minutes into it and then I was out.
I'm not surprised because that hypnotizing scene at the beginning, I felt like I was getting hypnotized at the same time.
Maybe I was.
He was so good. He was so good, wasn't he? Like being suggestible.
Sure.
I thought...
And that's such a big scene too, like the guy up on the bridge and everybody around stuff. It was like the movie felt bigger than it really was, and I think that really helped out with that opening scene. With the traffic and her in the taxi cab and the bridge, the chase scene, all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Like setup for the film. And I also, because my wife Shawnee is she's about to graduate her master's degree in psychology. Anything that has to do with like psychology or that kind of stuff, I'm always like super interested in. I always have been, but just being able to see her go through her schooling and the stuff that she does, it's way more fascinating. Even now. So anytime that kind of thing comes up in a movie, it just super interests me. Like, I think we watched, the movie with the Star Trek guy, DeForest Kelly, had some hypnosis thing in it too. I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah,
because he kept going to bed and forgetting, didn't he? He didn't have any memory of what he'd done.
Yeah,
and he was accused of murder, and he genuinely didn't know whether he'd done it or not.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought that's one of the main ones that I thought of when I was watching this. But so did another thing that it kind of gave me like Psycho vibes. Like it definitely has like a Hitchcocky kind of feel to it.
Do you think that's the female character?
It could be,
because I got that a little bit, but it was kind of her. I can't put my finger on it. I thought, is it the look, or is it? I don't know.
It's the sort of like the way the script plays, I think, is a large part of it, because, and I don't think this was really a thing yet back then, but Hitchcock kind of developed that sort of like red herring plot twist in the middle, kind of thing. The midpoint sort of like twist was a big thing with like maybe not necessarily Psycho being in the middle, because I think it was only like the first 10, 15 minutes or whatever, where it totally changes. But just that kind of concept and the idea, because that's sort of what happens in this movie. You're going through this thing and all of a sudden she disappears, and then they start thinking he's killed her, and that sort of thing. And it just, in her being blonde, I guess, and the femme fatale of the story sort of thing, and just the mystery behind it, just really did have some strong Hitchcock kind of vibes to it. So I think you are onto something about it. Maybe it's, the lead woman. But it definitely sparked my interest, and and made me feel like it had those sort of Hitchcock vibes.
I'm confused about his credentials, however.
Oh yeah, what credentials?
I don't know. I was watching it and I was thinking, God, for misdiagnosis, I could be a doctor. It just didn't strike me as, I don't know if it was the subject matter, because we're dealing with reincarnation and we went into it quite fast. I don't know if that was what it was, or whether they were just kind of skimming over the fact that he was just like, yes, this is just run of the mill. Oh, she's got a past life. Never mind. Let's just go back into your subconscious. You know what I mean? Not in an awful way. I don't necessarily mean it as a criticism.
I think
that's like me going, I've watched Diagnosis Murder for like 15 years. Basically, I am now a partial doctor that can diagnose murder. And like, it just felt a bit sort of like blasé like that.
I'm going to bring up Diagnosis Murder a little later on, but yeah, I kind of get that. And I think it's because they didn't focus so much on the psychiatrist, like therapist concept as much. Like it was so strongly geared towards hypnosis, which was a little odd, because in the beginning, when he's talking the guy down from the bridge or whatever you want to say, the guy says, "Oh, hypnosis." He's like, "No, it's not hypnosis. It's suggestibility or whatever." Right. So they were very quick to tell the audience, like, this is not hypnosis. So that was a little odd, because he obviously hypnotizes several people in this movie.
Yeah. And then is he suggesting in the subconscious mind these ideas? Like, I don't know, maybe that was the point of it.
Yeah, I just think that I think maybe it was, at the time, hypnosis was such a novelty that they were trying to say, hey, no, this is a serious movie, or this is a serious subject. It's, that kind of thing. That could be it. They were trying to flip it on its side, so that it didn't feel like a cheap concept or idea. And I think in that respect, it kind of worked. But I think we all know now today, like, hypnosis is a real thing. Like, yes, people have to have that ability to be suggestible, and they have to want to be hypnotized, all that kind of stuff, like, in order for it to, actually work. Which actually I touched a little bit on at the end of the movie. But I don't think today it would have been seen as, I guess, cheesy or whatever, if they had just went straight at it with hypnosis instead of the therapy angle. But especially when there was so little therapy involved in the movie.
There was no therapy.
Yeah, very, very.
The therapy was, come to dinner with me, marry me.
Right. Yeah.
This was the therapy.
Yeah, it was very slim on the therapy side of things. But I mean, for what it is, I still think it was pretty neat concept and idea, or at least a foot into the story, so to speak. But yeah, so going back to the Dick Van Dyke thing, the Diagnosis Murder, did you research at all the director of this?
No.
Okay.
I like to leave that to you.
Oh, okay. Well, so the director is, oh, good Lord, W. Lee Wilder, who just happens to be the brother of Billy Wilder, which directed, Double Indemnity and Sunset Boulevard and Some Like It Hot and tons of movies, right? And I think he's got like 6 or 7 Academy Awards, and very much a celebrated director of classic Hollywood. So this is his brother. And the script is written by Lee Wilder's son, Miles. So this is very much a family affair here with this movie. And Lee Wilder never went on to become a celebrated anything, really. And his brother being such a huge, icon, I think, in Hollywood, very much a celebrated director, they never worked together. The three of them never worked together at all, which I thought was fascinating.
Is that because you reckon he was like, guys, you're cramping my style? I've got another Academy Award to win here.
I was thinking that. I was thinking like either there's some sort of like family rivalry or like maybe there's that sort of I'm much more successful, I can't be seen in public with you kind of thing.
You do find that though, don't you? Sometimes with with creative families, they either go one way or the other. They're either teaming up all the time, or it's very, very rare, or it might just be with one of, say, there's 5 brothers, maybe just 2 of them work together.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, it's very true. I think, I think with actors, it probably happens a lot more but they tend to like, I don't know. It's really strange, how it kind of works.
It's weird because, like, if you from a casting point of view, if I thought, right, let's do an ensemble cast. Oh, let's get Alec Baldwin. Right, we need to fill 5 more roles. So you phone your brothers and see how cheap they're going to do it. Done. Right, next. Like, surely.
Yeah, but
it's less cost. You can get them all together at the same time. Plus, they're going to be good because they're going to be trying to outdo each other.
True, but I mean, it's like that's the funny thing about it, though, because they are very different people, though. Because like if you look at Stephen Baldwin, like he's obviously the lesser popular of them because he's the goofball, right? So
was he in the Flintstones? That's the one in the Flintstones, isn't it?
Jeez, I can't remember if he's in the Flintstones. He's in Biodome.
I'm sure it's Stephen.
Biodome with Pauly Shore.
You don't know. Well, it sounds like something I don't want to watch.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, or if you think of like Patrick Swayze and his brother, it's like, it's funny because Patrick Swayze, the good looking leading man, and then you see his brother, it's like, that looks like a vaguely smushed version of Patrick Swayze. Or even Sylvester Stallone's brother. I can't think of his brother's name, but they look very similar, but just like maybe not as good as looking, maybe can't act as well, that kind of thing. Or Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy or whatever his name is. It's like the same sort of thing. Like I think there's a reason why that sort of thing happens. Or who is it? Is it Martin Sheen's brother? Looks very similar to
Emilio
him.
Estevez is the best Sheen.
Oh, I agree. I think Emilio Estevez is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Emilio, if you're listening, because clearly he is. Yeah, we love you.
I'm sure. Martin Sheen is really good too, though. I like him a lot. And what's the Tiger Blood one? Charlie Sheen. He was good too for a while. But I like
him in certain things. I don't dislike him. I don't think he's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Emilio Estevez more. I think he's more.
He's got more charisma.
He's got more charisma. He picks better, not necessarily better films, but I think he picks more interesting characters.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a better.
Whereas
actor
Charlie
too.
Sheen, he kind of just became Charlie Sheen playing Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what film you were watching or what TV series you were watching. You were just watching Charlie Sheen.
Right, that's true.
Which is fine. Yeah. It's fine, but. Not every day.
I will say that movie that they teamed up on, Men at Work, I thought that was hilarious that they were good in that.
Yeah, that was quite good.
Yeah. So I think that's just one of those things. But I don't know. I'm not sure why I tried to look it up and try to figure out if they had any sort of rivalry or like things like that, but there's nothing out there that I could find.
Or maybe they were just like 2 wildly different sort of like creative personalities.
It could be, it could be.
It'd be like us. Like we have a very similar brain pattern that descends quite rapidly into chaos, even though to everybody else it looks like chaos. To us, it's like, oh, genius. Whereas if we went to a meet and greet with some other people that were in our situation, they'd be looking at us going, what the friggin' hell? No way. We are staying way away from their table if they think that's a good idea.
People are listening to us
and then we'd be at the
right
bar
now.
going... We'd literally be sat there going, wow, what a pair of losers. As if they don't think jumping through a time warp is cool.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if we were sitting down at a bar, I definitely would feel like Shaun of the Dead or something, you know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Um, Speaking of Jesus Christ, that was a plotted movie that you just came up with. Jumping through a time warp, sitting in a bar. What the hell was the name of that?
You have no idea, but there you go. You're welcome.
Great. It's a British movie too, where they go to a pub and the dude goes to the bathroom and then like
Oh, it's another Simon Pegg one, isn't it?
No, I don't think he's
I'm
in
sure
it.
it is.
I don't think he's in it. No. God damn, I can't think of the name of it, but it's really fucking good though. And he's sent to like the past or the future, and it gets really fucking crazy. And then all of a sudden they're in a dystopian future. It's really nuts. Anyway, off subject, but yeah, that was totally the plot of what you just said.
I think my subconscious is just seeping it all in.
Yeah, so I was surprised that they never worked together, and it instantly made me think of like Dick Van Dyke and how he has always got his family in everything that he does, which is really cool. I mean, he's really kind of, you know, rising tides kind of thing with his family, even though nobody really made, you know, a big as splash as he did, but that's still, I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to do. Yeah. So what did you think about the backstory, the Mayerling incident? I'm not sure if the folks at home have ever heard of this, but it's very much like a Romeo and Juliet type of real world incident that involved like a cheating crown prince, Rudolph of Austria, and a Baroness, Mary Vetsura, I think her name was, who I guess killed himself. Like they were having some sort of like dinner party at home, and the Rudolph, the Prince of Austria, I guess, had been cheating on his wife and with this Mary woman, and they had, I guess, decided to go out to this like hunting cabin in Maryling. I think I was calling it Maryland. Anyway, Maryling, which is in the Vienna woods, and they killed themselves, I guess, because they couldn't be together or was too scandalous or whatever it might have been. And I'd never heard of this, and it's not really that long ago. I mean, 120, 130 years ago or something like that. It was just right before the 1900s. But I thought it was pretty interesting. And to have, like, that's another thing where it's like, I was looking up that incident and there's no reference to the movie Fright. There's tons of other books, movies, plays, and things referencing on like the Wikipedia page for the Mayerling incident. But Fright is not there. There's so little information out there in the world about this film. I just found it kind of baffling.
Yeah, that is quite unusual.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it either.
Yeah. And this is, you know...
like you say, it's not that long, really. It's not that long ago. I mean, in the UK, we have this all the time with the royals, except they never the suicide pact.
What do they do?
They just lay low for about 20 years, and then eventually it comes out from the news of the world.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, the paparazzi have photos and stuff, and they just release disgusting things, and then it goes on the Crown.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like everywhere, I guess. Yeah, it's no different out here. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like one of those things where it was just a really interesting backstory and concept for the film, even though it's not really about that. It's just that's where the reincarnation, like basically the movie is this woman and this guy have been reincarnated as Prince Rudolph and Mary Vetsera, and they need to find each other. It's very much like Keymaster and oh shit, what is it called? Ghostbusters. I was going to reference Ghostbusters. Never mind, because I can't think of it. Gatekeeper and Keymaster, where they got to find each other, right? And the therapist guy and the police come up with a way to do that. And by doing that, he hypnotizes them and makes them, stay in their sort of altered state, as you will, their reincarnated state, and they get to meet each other again, and then the guy kills her again. Well, not really, but it's just a setup thing. And I thought that was pretty interesting and cool. And then he brings them back out of therapy or back out of the hypnosis and makes them, I guess, forget that whole past life incarnated thing, which to me was really the only downfall of it all, because I felt like there should have been a little bit more like sort of science-y mind fuck kind of story idea about where does that sort of consciousness go of these past life people sort of thing. Maybe they should have come back, or I'm not really sure how that would have.
Or they should have taken over and refused to go.
Yeah, that would have been great. Anything of that sort of.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really the only negative that of the whole story that kind of like stuck out to me. But yeah, the whole Marilyn incident thing was pretty fascinating bit of story incorporation, I thought.
Yeah, it was an interesting piece, I think, because I would you would never guess that.
No.
You know, you watch a film and you think, "Oh, I know where this is going." You would never in a million years guess that.
No, and even when it came about, it was just like it felt like they incorporated it so well into the script that I didn't know it was a real thing really until I started researching the movie for the podcast, and then that sent me down the rabbit hole, and I had to read the whole, background of it, and obviously it influenced our drink for today as well. So it was pretty well written into the story, and it didn't feel false. Well, obviously it wasn't false, but it, it was written in such a way. So I would give Miles, some props, because I really think it was a pretty good script. And I also, the acting in the movie, I thought there was nobody I thought that was bad in this movie. I thought they all did like a great job.
You did. I really like the paparazzi, the dirty paparazzi.
Oh, yeah, he's great, right? It kind of reminded me of like Danny DeVito a bit.
They were so.
And
yes. Yeah, you got like your first taste of like how rancid the paparazzi were at that time. Right. Like people say that how bad they are now. Oh my God, they were horrendous then as well.
Yeah, no, he sneaks into the place and then it's like the whole. It was pretty well done. It was fun, but that was just like what the heck is the name of that movie? Carly, help me out. Danny DeVito.
LA Confidential?
LA Confidential. Yeah, just like the hush hush on the QT thing, like that. All that stuff is like real, and that's when this movie is made. So I think that it really is like sort of a little slice of life kind of in the film, and so that's pretty interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I thought the acting was pretty well done. I thought the direction was great too. I'm honestly surprised that this would be considered a B film. I'm surprised that there's really no fanfare out there on the internet about the movie, like very little. But what I can find, everybody loves it. Everybody loves the plot, the story, everything about it. Like there's very, very few people that are like, "Oh, this is lame," kind of thing. But all the comments on YouTube, whoever posted the movie, has great comments and reviews. And I found only like 2 websites that go over the movie. There's very slim information out there about it. That's too bad. But all right, well,
yeah, I found one review that was quite bad, but it was one of them really short reviews where it doesn't really tell you why it's bad.
Oh, really?
It was like a generalization about plot, but it seemed to be similar to what we've said towards the end, where if it had gone in a slightly different direction, it would have completely changed the film and maybe the appreciation of the film. But because it stuck down the path it did, they kind of got a sense it was more leading up to nothing, so it made it boring.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that it made it boring. I just think that it could have been, they could have pushed it a little bit further. But yeah, I didn't come across that review, but that's interesting. But it does have a very eerie, like, because this is obviously a Halloween episode, like a little special that we're doing. But so, this film does have that sort of spooky vibes to it, with the murder, and even when he like baits her to come back, like that whole scene where he's fixing a drink and she shows up outside the house and the way it's lit and everything. And I thought that was really spooky, and just the whole sort of like reincarnated, plot and how that they did it. It was all very spooky. It's very, very much a solid film to watch for the Halloween season. I'm sure.
I agree.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure you'd agree with that. All right, Carly. Well, let's get into our rating for this film. I think. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because this is going to air before the other ones. But I think I went first last time. So I'm going to make you do it this time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I struggled a little bit with it because I was very much the same as you. With towards the end, I thought, I would have preferred if it had gone this way. But I mean, it's still a standalone story, so we might think, it would have improved this, that, and the other. But it didn't do anything. It didn't harm it the way that it went.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was quite in keeping with the whole
it was a good
basis of it,
break.
which
like they, it's one of those things where they wrapped it up nice and tightly with a little bow and everything. It's just one of those things that maybe it's like more about today, in today's like sort of storytelling world. We're always wanting to like push things a little bit further, and that could be the whole reason.
Well, that's the thing, and they may have been pushing the envelope of what they could get away with at the time.
That's true as well. Yeah.
So it's one of them. Like, I don't, like we said, we can't really recall many that deal with reincarnation and hypnotism, especially in the same film during that time. That's not an out and out horror film,
right?
That people were going to be outraged at anyway. So I can understand perhaps the need for compromise towards the end.
Right.
But I did think it had really interesting concepts, and I quite enjoyed the way that they went about it and what they tried to do, if nothing else. And I was quite surprised by it, actually, because when I first put it on, I thought, this is not going to be up to much. And I was almost like hypnotized with that bloke from the beginning. And I have a few nitpicks with the character because the doctor, but overall, he was really, really good. Yeah. It's more character points, sort of script written issues. Yeah. But again, at the time, you didn't have time to delve into that, and you had to kind of get him on the screen, get to the point, get it done. I'm going to give it an 8.
No kidding.
I know, because there was nothing really that I could massively criticise. I thought the cast were fine. Yeah, okay, it's a B movie. The sound's a bit iffy, but it kind of led to the atmosphere a little bit more, or it felt like that when I was watching it.
Nice. All right. I was surprised because I also give it an 8. And maybe not exactly for the same reasons for you. Like, because I look at like the quality of the transfer that we watched wasn't great. You know what I mean? So it's like hard to like judge the sound and picture quality and all that kind of stuff. But I guess the main reason why it, I knocked it down a little bit is because it doesn't have like the beginning. I think the beginning scene of the movie adds some bigness to the film, for lack of a better word. It makes the film feel a little bigger than it really is, because for the most part, the film kind of takes place in 1 or 2 rooms, more or less. And so the opening scene, gives it some breadth, but then that's the kind of the last time that we really feel that. And so I feel like they could have maybe done a little bit more in terms of scenery than what they did, which would have helped. But I did love all of the characters. I love the story. I always love it when I watch a movie and it introduces me to something that I didn't know. And in this respect, the Marilyn incident I always find that fascinating. And so that's always a plus. I thought it was great figuring out who it was that directed the movie and wrote it and all that. And I think all of those are pretty great. I think it's much better than it had any business being for, I think, the time period and the most likely the budget of the film. And for what I think, I could be incorrect, but I think it was Eric Fleming's first project. So, I mean, I thought he's fantastic for a first film.
Yeah, he sold a lot of the concept and the story. You kind of just went with it because he was so good.
Yeah. And another like thing I forgot to mention, like about him and his life story, when he was in, I think, the Navy. I'm not sure if it was merchants or in the Navy, but or if that's even the same entity. I think those are two different entities. Anyway, he was somebody bet him that he couldn't lift like a 200-pound like barbell or something like that over his head. And so he tried, and it ended up smashing him in the face and destroying like his forehead and his jaw. And he had to have reconstructive surgery and plastic surgery. And like, you cannot tell that at all. Like looking at this guy.
God, no.
Yeah.
No.
And
I tell you what, you wouldn't mess with him, would you?
No.
He's that kind of lunatic in a bar where he's like, he'd stab you in the eyeball with a pencil. Like,
Right.
because he can do it. Like, he's seen some stuff.
Right. Yeah. And he said something, like, I found a quote where he said something about like he always felt he was rather ugly. And so he found the incident to be kind of a blessing. Because I guess maybe he looks better now than he did before. I don't really know, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe he's just sort of that optimistic guy. He's had such a crazy hard life that.
Well, yeah, he's just kind of like, well, this happens and you do this and you take the positive from it and move on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. But yeah, I also give it an 8. I think it was a pretty fun movie, and I would definitely watch it again. So I'm not sure if any of you folks out there have seen it. It's kind of difficult to get a hold of, but you can find it right now up on YouTube. And so I definitely suggest you check it out. It's a great movie for Halloween time, and then you can, also enjoy your Mystic Maryling.
Oh my God. You sound like you're in backwards, like lunar territory.
I'm just trying to pronunciate it. Mayorling. It's a weird word. Anyway, you can enjoy that drink with the film. All right. Carly, it is my favorite holiday, and I'm not going to be celebrating it, so it makes me sad. Unfortunately, I'll be out here working, remodeling, doing shit. Yeah, so I hope you, Street, and Lily, I hope you guys all have a great Halloween, and you have fun, and send me some pictures, okay?
I will. I'll dress Lily for something really gargoyle-like and terrifying and send a picture.
Awesome. Yeah, do it. You'll have to post some for our listeners as well on the website.
Well, we might have to start a Kickstarter between now and then so Street can get a little bicycle so he can be Saw. Okay. He wants to ride down the street as Saw since his Spider-Man dreams are over. So
I just went and saw the new song.
But I think they're pretty vintage. Yeah. They're like pretty vintage, so I think they're expensive. We went to the cinema and saw Saw.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I got a couple pet peeves about it, but I liked it more than I liked I like part 1 quite a bit, and then I liked Spiral quite a bit because it kind of reminded me of part 1.
Like Spiral.
Yeah, and then this one was interesting. I really had wished that, because it takes place in between part 1 and 2. I really wish that when he was doing the traps, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but when he's doing each person's like little trap, I was really wanting him to be out there on the floor with them and talking to them and saying the pieces and not having the jigsaw on the bicycle or the cassette tapes and all that kind of stuff. Like I wanted to do it slightly before.
Yeah. Do you get that through customs? Surely somebody x-raying that's not going to go, this is that lunatic serial killer that we've been looking for, guys. How?
Well, it is Mexico,
I can't even get a little bottle of flipping shampoo on a plane because, it's too much liquid in it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it was Mexico, so maybe it's a little easier. It's kind of like Canada, I guess, in a way at the border. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a little harder getting back to the United States. But
Are you kidding me? I couldn't even get a lighter into Canada because I wanted a cigarette because I'd been on the plane for about 9 hours.
Right.
And I thought, just go through this security thing and there's the front door. I could not get through to the front door without handing over my lighter.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So that I got to the front door and I couldn't have a cigarette. There was nobody outside smoking.
Yeah.
Nobody, because that's not a thing.
Well, you used to be able to get across the border to Canada without even having a passport. But I think 9/11 out here changed a lot of that stuff, which now I guess has been a long time. But so that's probably the reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean,
plus Canada probably rightly so want to keep people like me in street out because if we got in there, we would never leave.
That could be true.
It's a full. You just get the truth with me. If we get 1 foot in that place for more than a week, we are not getting back.
No.
We are not coming back. We are sending for further reinforcements. The child's coming. The furniture's coming.
They'd be happy to have you out there.
I do like due south, so maybe.
Due south. You made me watch that.
Oh, that's my dream. That's my dream, to have Diefenbaker and solve crime.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I did.
But in Canada,
I did
not Chicago.
I did Saw pretty well. I thought that was pretty decent. I wish that it I think it could have been much better, but that doesn't mean that I don't think it was pretty good. I think that if they had made a couple slight changes, it would have been a really fantastic movie. And I did guess the plot 5 minutes into it. It took me no time to know what's going on. And so I was thinking to myself, well, maybe they're doing that, maybe they're not. But I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Oh, but did you get the ending?
No, I didn't really get that exactly. But at that point, it didn't really matter to me too much. I wasn't even trying to get the ending. Because I just I knew that there was something. I knew there was going to be a twist, with that. But because of my caveat of wanting him to have been on the floor from the beginning, going through all the very first one, he's out there and he's talking to the person and telling her this is what you have to do, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted that to be the case throughout the entire movie, because then it would have gave them more. It would have been more personal, more new, because of where the movie takes place.
Well, he is sick. The man needs some rest.
Right. Yeah. But, anyway, but it was still pretty good. It's worth watching, folks, if you're into the Saw movies. I don't really care for the gore stuff, and that's my issue with Saw, is that I'm not huge with gore. But if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like it. And there's not a whole lot of it actually in this one, compared to some of the others. But it's pretty.
No,
good.
it's just the eyeball thing at the beginning. But
that one, that's the one that didn't bother me.
Really, so I've got to think about eyeballs. So I cannot have anybody. Lily keeps trying to put fake eyelashes on me, and I literally will run around the house. Get away from my eyes. Stop coming at me with glue.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
That's a funny one too, because that one was just in his head. I thought that was interesting.
I know, it was really clever.
Yeah. But all right, Carly, I hope that you guys enjoy Halloween. I hope you have a fun time. And send some pictures, because I'll be living vicariously through your Halloween adventures. Okay. Well, there you go, folks. That's 2 8 out of 10 gens for Fright. We hope you guys enjoy that and your Mystic Maryling drink. And we will see you, I don't know, sometime soon, whenever we start up the next season. Until then, we hope you enjoy this little special Halloween episode for you. Happy Halloween.
He's looking at you, kid.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Speakeasy Noircast. make sure to visit our website, resurrectionfilms.net, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or any of your favorite podcast apps so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, The Dark Side of Acting Up, and The Dark Side of Acting Up Volume 2, now available on Amazon. Or you can check out one of our films, also available on Amazon Prime. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Speakeasy Noir Cast.